Hello, this is the Provoked Prawn, and this is Cuisine Royale. This is a video to show you what happens when you call in an orbital fridge, what you get out of the fridge, and how you do it, as well as some tips and tricks for using it. Now, the fridge can be unlocked with 1,000 in-game dollars, which are earned by getting wins in the game, kills, and completing achievements, mostly by the achievements and challenges. You can see all the different challenges you can do. You can earn bucks that way, and then you buy the gun. Now, the gun is a single-use gun, which means that it spawns in your inventory the next game you play once you've unlocked it. It comes in a case within your inventory, and you need to open that case to get the flare gun out, then fire that flare gun off into the air, and then that will call in the fridge. It's worth noting that once you open the flare gun out of that case, if you get killed, you will then lose it, which means you spent 1,000 bucks on a gun and then get the chance to use it, which is quite upsetting. I don't know whether someone can take it off your body, though. That'd be interesting to know that. Once you do that, you can then fire it off into the sky and then wait for the fridge to come in. Now, the fridge itself is very, very noisy, and when it comes in, it's very loud and proud, and everybody in the area will know. So it's worth saving that gun until you're in a position where it's quite safe, quite a space where it isn't necessarily going to be very busy. So you wouldn't want to call it in a big town in the Glees near the church or somewhere like that where it's very busy, or the airfield, because it could be quite risky. People will come and investigate because it doesn't happen very often. In fact, I've never seen anybody else call it in. We've done it a couple of times, but it doesn't happen very often at all. As you can see, it gives off a lot of smoke, so it's fairly obvious. That and the sound of it coming in, it's fairly obvious where it is. My tip would also be to empty your inventory of anything you don't need before you go and loot the fridge, because you will find there's quite a lot of stuff in there, and you don't want to be messing about with trying to loot it and then sort your inventory out while you're doing it, as I did, because you will find baddies will come and start shooting you and try and take your stuff. It's very rude. Now, in this fridge that I called in, all I got was an AK, a sight, and some body armor, which is pretty disappointing, I'll be honest, because you can get this sort of loot from a camo fridge if you find that scattered around the game. And the AK is okay, but I don't really favour it that much. I know other people like it, but I don't really get on with it that well, although on single fire it is quite good. You'll also note the fridge shows up as red when it's empty, although I was convinced there was something else in there because it was still making the sort of opening noise, and it doesn't disappear like the other fridges do when you finish with them. So I asked my mate to have a look and see if there was anything else in it, and he couldn't find anything either. And then there's an enemy trying to take our loot. Luckily the AK did deal with them. Now, you can only use the flare gun once the first circle has shrunk, and it's starting to shrink again, so you're in the next zone. What that's doing, obviously, is forcing you in as much as possible and stopping people from using it right at the beginning of a game where there might not be any baddies around. So they want to add some element of risk to it, I guess. You have to fire it into the sky, so if you do it directly above you, it's going to come as close as possible in theory, although both times I've done it, or I've fired it up in the air, it's come quite a way away, so you need to sort of watch the trajectory of where it's coming in to be able to get to it as soon as possible and get there before enemies do. And both times, actually all 3 times we've used it so far, we've found enemies come flooding over to see what all the fuss is about. So you have to be ready for battle, so make sure you've got the right gear to deal with baddies, and just be prepared that you might have to shoot it out with somebody. Now, in the last one I only got an AK. In this one things get a bit more interesting, so it is worth doing because it could be a lot of fun. There are some things in there sometimes that you don't see normally in the game. In this case, a jetpack. And a jetpack is a lot of fun to use. They put the jetpack in the game briefly for a little while and then took it back out again, and now they put it back in again in the fridges, and you can have a lot of good fun with this. Unfortunately, my fun was quickly ruined, as you'll see in a minute, by someone that came over to investigate. However, when you drop the jetpack, someone else can pick it up, so my good friend Sir Henry did manage to get hold of it and have a bit of fun with it himself. So there you go. So far out of the fridges we've seen jetpack and an MG42, and then before that was just an SVT, and there wasn't anything interesting in the other one. So be prepared to spend a lot of money on basically nothing, which is quite disappointing. Hopefully they'll improve this system in the future, because it does obviously bring a lot of danger to you, and it costs a lot of money, so the rewards, it would be nicer if the rewards were better, but it is still fun to do. It's really cool to see coming in. It's the best sort of loot drop I've seen in any game, and it's certainly the least subtle one I've seen as well, but it is much fun and hilarity. This has been the Provoked Prawn. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and check out my other videos on Cuisine Royale if you haven't already. Done quite a few now. I'm going to be doing more in future. And do some tips videos on the traps soon if you're interested in that. Thanks for watching.
This is really bad. Oh shit. Oh. Oof.